so Shane here. I'm here at the M3D stand with
JJ Beal Global.
All right, and JJ, so what do you do for M3D?
I am the COO of M3D.
Okay, so you're top dog.
I am the guy who keeps things running back and forth. I am not the CEO.
Oh, you're up there. So I want to talk about what's new. So the Pro Mega here, right?
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit about what are we doing here with this one? This is a little bit bigger than some of your previous printers, which are pretty small.
Just
so
a little bit.
I want to talk about what are we looking at here?
So we're looking at a 16-inch cubic print volume, and I've got the duet board on the back. I've got a dual zone heating plate, so I got inside and outside zone that can be turned on depending on how much energy you want to use for your print. I've got a fully enclosed printer that I can take that off depending on what material I'm going up to. I've got two different temperature zones I can work within. I've got a configuration for up to 270, and I got a configuration for up to 350.
Wow.
I can get this chamber up to about 80. I also have, not on this variant, but I have a full filtration system with a HEPA on the back if I need to start printing things like PEEK and ABS and stuff like that. So I should be able to handle pretty much most of your materials that you're going to be doing and filament deposition. And on top of it, I've teamed up with Duet on the back, so I've got Duet boards on the inside, so the technology is there. And the cool thing is this can come in two configurations. So I've got a 2 in, 2 out, so 2 heads. And then on this gun, I've got a 2 in, 1 out.
Okay.
2 in, 1 out allows me to do things like this. 2 heads allows me to do things like this.
Yeah.
Without waste pillar. With the 2 in, 1 out, I can do things like this with a waste pillar. So this was done on that machine with a waste pillar. This was done with no waste pillar. And it's pretty much the first time that you'll be able to get multicolor in a single print. Right out of the box with the OEM machine. So that's what we're up to. We've got an ERRF deal. Right now they're still on pre-sale for about $27.50. And I think ERRF gets a few, about 10–20% off that. And then on July 1, this goes on retail. So this is available for everybody, and the price goes up to $3,500.
All right, so that deal is good up until July 1 on the discount?
I think so. Don't quote me on when it ends, right? I think it's up till July 1.
Well, I mean, I'm not live, so it's whenever I put this up, kind of can give an idea on dates, whatnot.
We can always work with you if you want to extend something to your viewers as well.
Okay, great. So, real quick, I want to go back to it. We have all metal hot ends on these, then, yes?
All metal.
That's fantastic. Out of the box.
Yep.
That's great.
Now, there's 2 different hot ends. You mind if I grab some real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the low temp configuration, and this has got a 0.5 nozzle. We got a PT1000 on a 40-watt heater, and then I've got a piece of Teflon insert, and this goes up to about 270.
Okay.
Then I've got the full metal, no Teflon insert, same tech, nothing changes except for the nozzle, and I can go up to 350.
Okay.
And all stainless steel, so you can run anything you want through it, and it should last a fairly long time. That includes all your wood particles, carbon, and all that stuff.
Okay. Now these look like they're proprietary nozzles.
No.
No?
Everything is open. M3D has gone open with the Pro Mega and all of our future products. When we teamed up with Duet, everything is going to be open to the public. So as these things become available, the drawings will be up and you can do whatever you need to on your own.
That's fantastic. Last question about the extruders. Are we looking at 1.75 or 3, or we do both? Like, depending on which variant you buy?
Everything is 1.75 right now. We're going to stick with that as we get into more things. Just so you're aware, we make 12 different filaments in the 1.75 category and about 144 different color variants across that. So I got HIPS, PLA, ASA, POM, PCTPE, PVA, PVB. I got 4 different PLAs. I got carbon, color change, temperature change, and then I've got 2 different TPUs. I got 2 different densities, and then I've also got a carbon PET-G. So all that is 1.75. Yeah, we're the largest OEM from largest supply chain OEM for filaments that also makes printers in the world. We don't have any plans to go to 3mm. That might be something that happens in the future, but right now we don't see that as a real big need in the industry.
All right, well, great. So we've seen the perimeters. Can we go take a look at the crane now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. Okay, so here we're in front of the crane. So tell me about what are we going on here? Because there's some craziness with a bunch of filaments going on.
Yeah, so this is the crane prototype. We actually had the finished crane down at the end. So what we've got is a new head that allows us to either be a dual head or a 4-head if I combine the plates. The paths are all linked so that these plates can be made into 2 different things. And now I can mix up to 4 colors and get about 50,000 colors out of a single key. What I mean by a single key is I can have CYM and I can do it with black as the key, I can do it as white as the key, or I can do transparent as the key, depending on what I want to do.
Okay.
And I get 50,000 colors out of that, and I can use it to do gradients. So I can go from one color to another, I can do 2 colors, 3 colors. Using the duet board, we actually define tools as colors, and so depending on how I slice it, I can go from one tool to the next or change ratios between tools.
So wait, this is also running in duet?
Everything we're doing runs the Duet 2 Maestro. Now this runs with a breakout board, so I go up to 7 motor controllers, whereas the Pro Mega is only 5 motor controllers.
Okay.
And then the other thing you can do is you can start to do isolation. So you've probably seen this from things like a palette or the MMU for the brushes.
Yeah.
Now I can do that. Now what they do in theirs is that they slice, and they have a certain amount of waste on either end, and their print blocks, their waste pillars are really large, and they're compensating, and they're limited to the 4 colors of filament that they put in. We are limited to nothing.
Yeah, I mean this print right here, this is quite impressive. I was talking to one of you guys earlier, and this was an earlier print with a larger nozzle.
Yep.
But you put a finer nozzle on this, and you're going to get some pretty doggone good details out of it.
Yep.
That's, to see that from afar, you're like, well, wait, is that actually 3D printed? You get up close, you can see the layers, but that's quite impressive for what it is.
Yep, it's about 14 different colors, we think.
Wow.
So four colors in, 14 different colors out. That's what we think the power of this is. And on top of that, you don't have to necessarily buy our printer. One of our true goals here is we want to get to multi-material. We want to make the Star Trek replicator a real thing before we die. So in order to do that, we need to get to multi-material. We don't have CAD software that's really made for it. We don't have a file type made for it, and we don't have slicers that are made for it. Once you get above 2 colors, most slicers sort of fall apart.
Yeah.
The MMU and the palettes, they're creating their own slicer configurations, but it's still very specialized. So we're releasing these so that you can buy just the head if you want to put it on your own printer. You can buy just the duet board if you want to make something else. You want to use that on the diamond head, for example. It's another color option. We want to get color accelerated. We want to catalyze it as quickly as possible. So you can get the head for $199, you can get the board for $119, or you can buy a full-up printer for $649. The hope is that in a year or two, we figured out slicing, we figured out file types, and we figured out how we're going to model it. And now we can get into things like, I want to combine metal and plastic. I want to combine conductive, non-conductive. Once I have that, I can replace colors with materials, and that's where we think the real power is. We want this place to look very different in 2 years, and M3D is doing as much as we can to help the industry get there, so that, again, by the time we retire, the replicator is a real thing, but we've got to get to multi-material to make that happen.
So what was the build volume on this one?
So this is going to end up with a 214 by 214 by 230. We might be able to get you a little bit more. And like I said, the variant down there is the final variant. You can take a look at it if you want.
Okay.
It's got a much sexier appeal than this current prototype.
Yeah, I mean, still, again, you're just looking at it. I mean, you're seeing the multi-material, the multi-color filament go in, and there's not a lot of people doing that right now. So it's fun to see. And then the motors on there, what kind of little motors we're using? Because those are not standard NEMA motors that we're used to seeing on 3D printers.
Yeah, so head mass was a big deal. When we were looking at head mass, we were trying to figure out how do we get down mass. So we've been making printers for about 5 years. We have one of our printers, the Micro and the Micro Plus. The extruder motor has been a workhorse for us. We've had issues with some of the other motors with just the amount of inertia, so we had to keep our mass down with there. But that extruder motor that we've been using there has been a workhorse. But we wanted to take it up a notch. So we created this latest variant of the 135 motor. That's what we call it. It's a small stepper motor. And we upped it, we put on metal gearing on the inside, and it's now a much beefier machine, getting a ton of force if you play with this. So it's mostly extruding white right now. So if you pull on it, it will rip your fingers apart, and we've been really happy with that part. So we're making that motor available. We're actually selling the motor, so anybody can go use it now. And we're going to try to release as much, again, since we're going open, we're going to release as much as we can about it, so that other machines can potentially take advantage of it.
Yeah.
We want to change how 3D printing works. We want to make it as inexpensive, and we want this in everyone's home.
Yeah, this is a big step. And the last thing, can it do flexible?
It can do flexible. What we found though is we've got to change the idler tension. And because this is fully assembled, what we have to do is we have to put in a second size idler in there. Not as big of a problem. Now, the other thing you can do is, and we actually have one of our test machines, we have it hooked up to a MakerBot. We only changed one of the idlers. So one of our 4 is flexible, the other 3 aren't.
Oh, that's still, yeah, I mean, but it can do flexible, but it can still do standard as
That's
well
correct.
with a different idler.
Yep.
So you could always just mark that one like a white around it, and bam, that's your flexible one.
Yep.
All right, that sounds real cool. So you guys have amazing new products coming out, I see.
Yeah.
So this should be fun to see. Again, I hope to see some of this here in the future and try it out myself.
I can't wait till you get your hands on it.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you as well.